Welcome to our June chapter meeting. Tonight we have Sonia who's going to talk about a project that she is doing. So Sonia, it's your turn.
Hello. Okay, let me pop right over here. Hi, hello. My name is Sonia Koschoreck. First of all, let me just take a moment to say thank you so much for having me this evening and for your support. And to Randy and Lynn and Wayne and everyone else that is responsible for putting this event together this evening. Your effort and help is so greatly appreciated and invaluable. So I wanted to tell you a little bit about myself and my experience in the last year as a new Texas Master Naturalist graduate, and a little bit about the project that I am working on that I call the Monarch Sanctuary Project. I am a graduate of the first COVID class virtual platform, which is so weird to say, but we all did such a great job at adapting because we had to, right? I found the Texas Master Naturalist program by attending a Knowles Wilderness First Aid Training seminar a while back. My husband and I are big adventure backpackers, and as outdoor enthusiasts, extremists, we find ourselves in a lot of precarious type of situations where safety skills are needed. So that's why I was at that wilderness first aid class. On one of those lunch breaks, I met a gentleman who had just finished getting his naturalist certification, and he was telling me all about it. I said, "What's that? What is a naturalist?" And he said, "Oh, you don't know about it? It's so cool. You basically learn all things Texas nature and you do really cool stuff like follow the golden cheek warbler." And I thought, oh my gosh, I have to do that. So I went home that night and I signed up for the program. And I was so excited about it. And I started the classes, and my friends and family were just listening to me rant and rant and rant about all of these things. And they were so happy I was happy, but they didn't really understand what it was that I was doing. What is that? A naturalist. So I wrote a little poem for myself in my own words that basically sum up what it means to me to be a Texas Master Naturalist. And just so you know, I do smile this big all the time. So, and I'm also really happy to be here with you right now. So this poem is called The Naturalist Oath. I am a student of nature. It's a lifelong quest. Investigation, infinite. It's a lot to digest. I am a generalist about the whole of nature. I know a little something. In essence, I know nothing. I pay attention, in particular, on purpose. I take classes on the masses, but I have specific passions: ornithology, botany, ecology, mammalogy, herps, entomology, all the ologies, field play, overlap work. In nature, nothing stands alone. I hone in on grasses, forbs, conifer. I'm more than just a bag of this hat binoculars. We're interconnected. We're all living things. The way the wind blows or how the wren sings. I identify. I have resources. I rely on the health of the environment, aware of the intangible, of the threats. I am a master with a lowercase m. I pay respects to those who came before me. I represent the voiceless. It's a lifelong quest. This is my oath. It's a calling. I am a naturalist. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Applaud. No, just kidding. So my family still doesn't understand exactly what it means to be a naturalist, but I think they're getting closer and they're really happy that I'm happy. So then I attended the annual convention virtually last year. And one of the lectures that I took was on monarch conservation with Carol Clark, who's up north in North Texas with Monarch Watch. And she talked about monarch biology and conservation and the fact that the migration is threatened, which I honestly really didn't know at the time, and the fact that the monarchs have to come through Texas twice a year, spring and fall. And I thought, oh my gosh, well, as a native Texan and as a naturalist, I feel like I have to represent here. And she said, there's so much that you can do. And I felt like she was talking right to me through my laptop screen. And so I decided I was passionate about that. I had a small pollinator paradiso in my backyard of the house that I rent here in Pflugerville, that I started after Mr. Wayne Roden's pollinator gardening lecture. And so I had that started, and I had a milkweed in there. And so on our lunch break of this conservation lecture, she said, this is how you look for monarch butterfly eggs on the underside of milkweed leaves. So on our lunch break, I ran outside and I checked underneath the leaves, and oh my goodness, I found eggs. And all of a sudden, those monarch caterpillars were in my life, and they were under my care and my protection. And you guys, I swear, it was like someone flipped the switch inside of me and my light turned on. And all I wanted to do 24 hours a day was to protect these little creatures. And then let me just tell you, after those little eggs hatched, after 3 or 4 days, the monarch caterpillars that came out, let me just say that they melt my butter. Monarch caterpillars just do it for me. I don't know. I think they're the cutest things ever, and I turned to complete mush. So I thought, I need to protect them. How am I going to protect them from predators, from all the things? Well, I basically went through an evolution of enclosures that started with basically like a produce mesh bag that I got off of Amazon, and I was covering the individual leaves of the milkweed plants. Well, that didn't work because I had to move them around like a million times a day. And so then I got a larger mesh enclosure that I kept inside my house. And then I was imagining myself with hundreds of enclosures with thousands of monarch caterpillars inside my house. And I was going to raise and release them. And that was going to be the crazy cat lady. And my life was going to be great. Well, then I learned that indoor raising and releasing can negatively affect the migratory capabilities in the monarch. And I thought, no, that's not what I want. I want to be a part of the solution and not the problem. So I convinced my husband, Shane, to help me build a super swanky 6x8x10 walk-in monarch butterfly enclosure in my backyard, and I called it Hotel Monarch. One thing you should know about me is with any great life endeavor or venture, I give it a title. And so this new passion project of mine of saving the monarch butterflies became the Monarch Sanctuary Project. And so I finished Hotel Monarch. And right around that time, last fall, winter, the naturalist program had an opportunity to work with the University of Texas Department of Entomology to do an overwintering experiment for zebra long-winged butterflies. But you had to have outdoor-like conditions. Well, lucky me, I had just finished building Hotel Monarch. So we hosted over 40 zebra long-winged butterflies at Hotel Monarch in different stages. Wait a minute, zebras and Hotel Monarch? What gives? Listen, we don't discriminate at Hotel Monarch. There's only one rule. You can check in anytime you like, and you better leave. I know. I'm here for another few minutes, y'all. Try the veal. Okay, so at that point, I took Miss Carol Clark's advice and I started writing emails to anyone who had large amounts of land who might let me create a monarch way station on their property because my garden space just wasn't enough and I had to do more. And I started applying for those grants that she suggested through Monarch Watch and Native Plant Society of Texas Bring Back the Monarchs to Texas campaign. I had never applied for grants before, but you can do anything if you just put your mind to it, it turns out. So guess what? I was awarded every single grant I applied for. One of those grants was for a large scale planting on over 2 acres of land. And let me tell you, I've really never done anything like that before. They said, we're going to give you these 200 native milkweed of 2 different varieties, but you're going to need to move fast and you're going to need to move soon. And so I picked the very auspicious Earth Day in April at Berry Springs South Preserve. And we planted all of those milkweed. With the help of Mr. Randy Spurlock, we put out a Sign Up Genius, and in what seemed like less than an hour, you guys filled up my sign up, and you came with spades in hand and watering cans under your arms, and you made muffins and you brought balloons. I'm gonna cry because you are helping me make my dream a complete reality. And I looked up and I saw all of you walking around and planting these milkweed and participating and enjoying yourselves. And I realized this is part of my project, this land stewardship community building and learning together. So, oh my gosh, thank you. Thank you if you were there. Thank you if you wanted to be there. Thank you for the next one coming that you will be at. So far, also Berry Springs Park and Preserve said yes to one of those emails. And then I heard back from Pflugerville Parks and Rec. I live in Pflugerville, and so right down the street was my proposal, an 800 square foot rectangular way station plus the field in front of it, if possible. And so I got them on the phone after about a month of back and forthing, and I told them about Berry Springs Park and Preserve, and all of a sudden they said, whoa, wait, what? You're doing what in Georgetown? Well, Pflugerville thinks that's very important too. So I had another yes. So now I have those 2 way stations, and I'm also working with the International School of Texas. I helped them design and implement their way station, and they're tracking and reporting their data to community science organizations in the fall. And then this coming fall, I'll be working with Wholesome Generation School. It's a Reggio Emilia school on a 5-acre farmland. So that's going to be part of their curriculum that then they will weave in and teach the kids that come after them. So then I realized this is part of my project. So far this past spring, I have planted over 1,000 native milkweed and native nectars between all of my way stations. Oh, it's good. It's good, tears. It's fine. And I spread over 10,000 wildflower seeds in Kemple Park in Pflugerville. I'm monitoring 6 way stations in different cities, in different counties, with different age groups. No mowing, no pesticides. Very excited. And I'm learning how to grow and cultivate and harvest seeds for my own native milkweed grow operation, so that then I can teach other people how to grow it and provide milkweed for other people to have it to put in their way stations. One of the stipulations for my way station was that I had to monitor, maintain, and water it on my own. So one of the challenges was establishing my watering system. I basically engineered about a $600 watering system that is a portable 4-stroke pump, water pump that weighs about 35 pounds. One hose drops into Gilliland Creek or Berry Creek. The other hose goes out to the way station with a watering wand. You put some gas in the tank, water in the other tank to prime it, start it up, boom's your uncle, Bob's your uncle, and boom, there's your watering system. It's not perfect. It's a little bit heavy. It was expensive. Sometimes I wrestle with the hoses and it looks like I'm, losing the battle sometimes. And sometimes I get poison ivy, but I'm learning every time. It's getting easier and it works. And it's a solution that uses a natural watering source. So good job, Sonia. We're working on it. One of the huge challenges I'm facing in my Pflugerville way station is I placed it close enough to Gilliland Creek that I could use it as a water source. But what I wasn't anticipating was for it to be in a floodplain. So I just didn't see that coming. Site preparation, maybe, I don't know. The floods came. I had just finished putting in all of my native grasses to complete the shelter requirements for the waste station. It was going to be completely done. 2 days later, it started flooding. And not only did my waste station flood, but it was in the rushing floodplain. And all those grasses I had just put in, over $100 worth of grasses, they were just up and gone. It looked like just holes, big holes, sunken holes in the ground. I thought full failure, complete depression spell for 2 days solid. I ate a lot of ice cream and watched a lot of Netflix. But then I pulled myself out of that space and I thought, no, that is not how a naturalist would look at this situation. So I put my thinking cap on and I started writing emails and making phone calls again. And one of the emails that I sent was out to a gentleman named John Hart Asher. Some of you may know him from the Central Texas, Central Texas Gardener. He works as a consultant for the Ecosystems Design Group and the Lady Bird Johnson Wildflower Center. And he gave me a 1-hour pet talk on the phone. And what's so cool is he didn't give me a single answer to my questions. He just gave me more questions on questions, which is great. That's how I want to learn. And he said, I have on my voicemail, I have a message that says, I'm out saving the world right now. Sorry, I'll call you back later, whatever. He said, I heard your voicemail, Sonia. I love that you want to save the world. And I love that you're a naturalist and I love everything you're doing. But let me just tell you, you cannot be just an advocate for change and saving the world. You're going to need to step up and be an agent for change, not just an advocate, an agent for change. You do need to learn more about site selection and preparation. And you do need to learn more about your native soil. You're thinking natives above the soil line. You need to think native below the soil line. You need to realize that you're not going to have success all the time in your endeavors. You need to realize that gardening in Texas is really hard. And some plants survive in a floodplain. So maybe rethink what you're putting in there. And also, this ain't HGTV garden. It's not Better Homes and Gardens. It is a wildlife habitat that you're creating. It's not perfect. It's got, so he just filled me up with hope and inspiration. And so now, you guys, now I have zoomed out and I'm not looking just at my waste station. I'm looking at the whole riparian area. What? And now I'm working with a few people and we have formed what I'm calling the Pflugerville Environmental Initiative. And I am working with City Council to, wait for it, change the bridge. If I change the structure of the bridge to allow more water to pass through, it won't flood my area, and it will also solve a lot of other problems that the city of Pflugerville is happening, but this talk is not about that. But next Friday night, I do have my first community meeting in the city of Pflugerville at my way station to talk about what I'm doing and what the concerns are. And oh yeah, please don't drop seeds in my garden because you're helping. So education is key, right? And then I realized this is part of my project. So community outreach, working with young minds, working with naturalists. This project has become so big. One of the things I love about, I'm almost done. One of the things I love about the naturalist education is the concept of interpretation. And for me, the Monarch Butterfly Sanctuary Project endeavor is about monarch conservation, and it is about the monarch butterfly, but it is also about the human experience. And we are not unlike the monarch butterfly with all the changes and metamorphosis that we go through as a society and as ourselves. So I think that through doing this conservation work, we're also doing the work that helps us as humans and communities grow. Whew. So that's what I'm doing. In the fall, I'm going to continue through the summer to maintain my way stations. And then in the fall, I'm going to start recording and reporting my data once a week in each one of the way stations to the Monarch Larva Monitoring Program project. MLMP, Monarch Larva Monitoring Project. And it's a community science organization that will help us to learn more about the migration and how we can save it as it stands. So that's my spiel. Thank you so very much for your support and for listening. And please reach out to me if there's anything that you want to do to be a part of it. Y'all have a great, great night.
Thank you, Sonia. If you want people to reach out to you, you might want to put your email in the chat so people will know how to reach you.
I will do just that. I'll put my email and my social media info. Thanks, y'all. Have a great night.
I'm sure we have chapter members who would love to get involved with you. Great presentation, Sonia. Thank you very much.